Record. Beautiful. So let's dive into it, right? So first and foremost, do you guys understand macros pretty well? Do you guys know what protein, carbs, and fats are? Little hand raise. If yes, cool. So we're going to get you guys engaged a little bit, right? So protein, what is protein used for? Can anybody answer that for me?
Recovery of the muscle when you tear it when you're working out.
Beautiful, right? So protein is going to be used for recovery, muscle building. It'll be used for energy whenever we don't have resources available. There's no carbs, there's no fats. We're going to break down protein and use it for energy, right? Then we got carbohydrates. Does anybody know what role carbohydrates play within the body?
Besides delicious.
Yeah. I know you guys know this. Say it one more time, man.
Isn't it used to give us energy?
Correct. So carbohydrates, the most readily available. So when we're eating carbohydrates, the body's going to break it down a lot easier. We can use it for energy. That's why we like to have carbohydrates for our workouts and after our workouts, right? Fats. This one might be a little bit harder. Does anybody know what fats, like what role they play within the body? Junior, do you know this one?
It's
just
also a
lose them?
source of energy, right? I know that. It's also a source of energy, right? Like fats.
Correct. So with
Well,
fats,
something I don't know the other part of it.
yeah. So with fats are going to be used for, like Junior said, energy, but they're also going to be used for hormone regulation as well as vitamin absorption. We do have some vitamins that only get absorbed through fats. If we don't have that, we're not going to be able to absorb those, right? So when we look at the macros, protein and fats are essential. Carbohydrates are not essential. You can go your life without having carbohydrates. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you do that, your life's gonna suck. You can't enjoy food. You can't have the chocolate bar. You can't have all the stuff you enjoy, right? It isn't a necessity, but we do want to have it because it does play a role and it's going to be super important when it comes down to being able to perform in the gym as well as recovering, like we mentioned, right? So we want to have a balance between them on. And now that we all know, what they're there for, I do want to dive into how to track them, right? So if we go on here, I'm going to bring this up. We're going to go on to MyFitnessPal. So who here feels pretty comfortable with macros? If we set macro ranges for them, they know that they can hit them. Raise the hands. You guys pretty confident with them? Not confident? Cool. So let's do this, right? What we're going to do here is we're going to set macros, and then we're going to go through each meal. That way we can make sure that we can hit those macros. So if I go on to goals right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this. I'm going to bring this stuff up. So Mario, give me a macro range. Give me some macros.
Let's go 180 protein, 60 fat, 220 carbs.
220 carbs. Cool. Save changes.
So now, real quickly, Jose, diving into this, I kind of want to, even ask you, why is it so important to hit your macros on the dots? Why right now we're at 2140? Why is it important to make sure that we hit within that range instead of hitting 1700 one day, 2500 one day? Why is it important that we hit 2100 or at least within that range? I tell all my clients, stay within a 5 gram range of each macronutrient. So if you're at 220 carbs and you hit 223 carbs, cool, yeah, that's fine. If you're at 60 fat and you hit 62 fat, cool, that's fine. You're within a 5 gram range. Same with protein. If you're at 180 grams of protein and you hit 177, cool, you hit 177. Stay within that range. That'll normally keep you within 100 calorie range. But why is that so important when it comes to us coaches when we're looking at that?
Less variables to consider, right? So if we're trying to assess why you aren't getting results and we can't actually assess it through your data because your data is so inconsistent, how do we give you something that actually works? Right. So when we have consistency, when we have somebody hitting their macros to the T, we know when we make an adjustment, we have a high chance of it actually being successful. because the way we make adjustments is all science-based and it's all numbers and data. So we're looking at the data, we're going to have past clients, we're going to have past things that we've already like researched, seen that works, and now we can implement it, right? Because there's the consistency there, and we can see that the data is going to allow us to make that adjustment. It's going to allow it to work, right? If someone's not consistent, I can make any adjustment I want. They're still going to be inconsistent. They're never going to get the result they want. So that's why it's truly important to do this, right? I am a little bit more lenient than you when it comes down to like protein and carbs. I usually do a 10-gram range, but for fats, definitely a 5-gram range, just because fats are higher calories. When you look at fats, they're 9 calories per gram. Carbohydrates or fats, they're 4 calories per gram. So you have a little bit more wiggle room with them, right? But diving back into this and like breaking this all down, right? So how would we even attack this, right? If somebody gives me macros and you're looking at them, you're like, how do I even attack this? Like, how do I structure my meals? So the biggest thing that we always want to consider is, all right, how many meals are we going to have a day? So Mario, how many meals do you want to have a day? What is easier for your schedule? What can you do? What is going to make you adherent to it? You know, doesn't matter if it's 2, it doesn't matter if it's 5.
5 meals. That's
5 meals.
Even when I have 2,000 calories, or if I have 3,000 calories, I like having 5 meals.
Yep. Beautiful. So when we have 5 meals, I honestly like having 4 to 5 meals because you are spacing your meals out. It's going to help with satiety, but 2, it's also going to help with muscle protein synthesis, which is where your body starts building that muscle, right? If you're eating twice a day, you're missing out on 2 times that your body can start actually going through that process, right? If you're having 3 meals or 2 meals and that's all you can do, cool. Doesn't matter. Hit your protein intake. But if you can do 4 or 5 meals, we definitely recommend it, right? So again, we're doing 5 meals. How do we attack this next, right? So we're going to go and look at our calories. And if we know we're having 5 meals, all we have to do is divide 2140 by 5. So each meal has to be around like 430 grams or 430 calories. Now we know our calorie target for the meal, right? We know our protein's 180. We divide that again by 5. Now every meal has to have about 35 grams of protein, right? If someone is tracking calories of protein, which most of you guys are, that's how you hit it, right? Every single meal, you know that you have a range. You have to get as close to 35 as possible. And your calorie range should be about like 400 to 450. You have 4 meals structured in that way, there's no way you can't hit your calories or you can't hit your protein, right? For people more advanced, when they're in full macros, we do the same thing here, right? So we're going to divide fats by 5, which is going to give us around 12 grams per meal. When we do carbohydrates by 5, we're looking at 44 grams per meal. So now all we have to do on here, start picking and plugging food, right? We already know our ranges. So give me some food, Mario. What do you want your breakfast to be, man?
I like breakfast Sammys, English muffins with turkey bacon, cheese, and eggs.
Okay, cool. So how many eggs do you usually have?
Normally 2 or 3.
2 eggs. Cool. So I'm going to add the eggs on there, right? So we got 2 eggs on here. We already got 13 grams of protein, 10 grams of fat, 1 gram of carb. So now we know we still need more protein. Fats, we're pretty close to our range. If we go over a little bit, we can remove some from like the next meal if we really want to, right? So now we got to add more protein to this, right? So we're going to add the English muffins. English muffin, do about 2.
Yep.
They're about, 24 grams of carbs each. That'll put you right about 48. So pretty close
5 grams
to
of
it.
protein each. So that'll be about 10 grams of protein.
Yep. Cool. So 50 grams of carbs, right? A little bit over, still fine. So now we just need protein on here. What can we add, right? Some egg whites.
Turkey bacon.
Or the turkey bacon as well. We'll go into the first one. We go on to it. Fat's going to be a little bit higher. I'm going to add that on there. go back. Perfect. So now we're at 27 grams of protein, 18 grams of fat, 52 grams of carbs. So we overshot on the carbs, we overshot on the fats, which we're going to remove from that next meal just to even things out. Our protein, we can keep it there, and then we can add more protein in the next meal as well, right? So whenever you get a meal that is a little bit lower from the target, just know that you can add to the next meal. That's going to allow you to pretty much recover from it if you need to. If you already hit 35, cool. You move on. You make sure that your next meal has 35, right? So we're going on to meal 2, man. What do you like meal 2?
I'm about to hit the gym. Rice Krispie cereal, a little bit of peanut butter, and a protein shake.
I will say, bro, you're getting some calorie dense meals. This is probably going to be hard to fit in here with 5 meals from all the high calories you're having.
Yeah, I mean, with the Rice Krispie, it's 40 grams. You don't have to put much. We just adjust accordingly.
So it's 40 grams of it?
You just put 40 grams. And then you see, this is why I like tracking the night before, because if we go through it right now and we're over calories, okay, cool. We just go back and we just adjust a couple things. Okay, maybe we only have 1 English muffin. Okay, maybe we have less cereal, or maybe we have more cereal. Once we track everything, you can go in and adjust it to what's going to make a little bit more sense. And this is why it's better to track in the morning or the night before, because eventually you build a really good flow. But you can't really go throughout the day freeballing it until you have some type of structure. Like for myself, I work from home. I eat the same exact foods. My grocery bill comes out exactly the same every week. So it's not that hard for me to just kind of make very small portion changes. But I've been eating the same foods for so long now. So once you have some type of structure, then you can kind of freeball it a little bit more. Maybe I don't want cheese today. Maybe I want guac, and I can make those changes really easy. But until then, you're going to want to. Yeah, I can't pass the grocery list. You're going to want to track the night before. It takes 10 minutes. It doesn't take too much time. Just don't be texting anybody. Turn off your notifications real quickly, and then just go through my Fitness Pal and then plug things in the same way we're doing right now. You know, break up your protein and the amount of meals that you want to have, and then just be mindful that you want a pre and post workout meal to look a specific way. And then you only have to focus on 3 meals.
Yep. That's it. That's really it. And the thing here too is like, eventually you just know what's in the meal. You know, like me and Mario can eyeball our breakfast at this point. Like I can eyeball pouring egg whites onto the same bowl that I've done for like the last year and a half. Like I don't even have to wait if I didn't want to. I could literally just eyeball it and I would know that I'm pretty much dead on to 130 grams. But that comes with being intentional. That comes with doing this the night prior and actually understanding what you're doing and what you're adding. Right. So we added the Rice Krispie cereal. We got 36 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein. I'm guessing you're probably going to have some protein with it, right? So what kind of protein do you use?
Let's just throw an isolate protein. So any isolate protein you could just type in.
Diamatize.
Yeah, ISO 100.
Cool. We're going to add that onto the food diary. Do you usually do this with water? Or do you do this with milk?
Water.
Cool. For sakes of this, right? He's still under his protein. He's at 28. His fats, they're minimal. If he wanted this to really carry him through his workout, he'd want a little bit more fats, right?
I normally put a little bit of peanut butter.
You could do that too.
15, 20 grams.
15, 20 grams. So 1 tablespoon. So normally 1 tablespoon is about like 16 grams. So you see how we just know it just off looking at it? So cool. So now things are a little bit more equal, right? So he's got 32 grams of protein. His carbs are dead on. Fats are pretty much good. He's under here, which is evening out here, right? Meal number 4, man. What do you have in post-workout?
Exact same thing.
I will say this: do not model Mario's eating. Mario's a robot. I don't think I've ever seen this dude eat a vegetable.
Did you guys not see my story last night? It was just a chicken breast on a plate.
I did.
The bone apple teeth.
Let me see if I can just pull it up from here. Where's this at? Boom. We'll do that. Gonna add that on there. And then you do peanut butter as well, right?
Yep.
Cool. Cool. So now we got both the meals right there, right? We're under 90 grams. So we still need another 90 grams of protein, another 22 grams of fat, and about another 90 grams of carbohydrates. Right.
Yep,
So
and that normally
now
goes into
see that? One more
that
time?
normally goes. I like having my chicken breast and ground beef at the end of the day. So the fats will come from the ground beef, the carbs will come from the rice, the protein will come from the ground beef and chicken breast.
Cool. So ground beef. What do you do? 93.7?
93.7. And then hopefully there's a little bit left over because I like doing what I call macro caps, where like, hey, I got 8 grams of peanut butter or 8 grams of fats left. Let me eat a spoonful of peanut butter. Like, it's like little things like that to cap it off.
One extra tip I'm gonna tell you guys. I do this because it makes my life easier. I weigh everything in grams. I don't do ounces. I don't do anything else. I weigh everything in grams. And then I always set this to 1 gram. That way I can always input whatever it is. If it's like 150 grams, 150, 155 grams, 155. So we'll do 150 here on the ground beef. And then you have rice as well.
Yep, for both meals.
When you're searching something, one thing you could do as well is add a gram at the end or the G at the end. And what it'll do, it'll allow things to come up in grams, which always makes it easier. So I think 175 grams is going to be pretty close to it.
That's something I didn't even know.
Yeah. So you see here, I'm over on carbohydrates, right? I can leave that as is, and then I just have to adjust over here. So fats, we got 7 grams left. And then we have about 55 grams of chicken left, right? So, or 55 grams of protein left. So we'll do chicken breast. Again, add the gram at the end. We go on here. So now we just got to figure out what's going to allow us to hit our protein intake and get us pretty damn close to our fat intake, right? So I overshot. All I do here, I go into this, I bring that down, say like 150, save. Protein's at 183, 3 grams away from my fat. Now I just need more carbohydrates, right? You say you do rice with this meal too?
Yep.
Is it all just kind of seeming easier going through and like seeing it being logged? Beautiful.
To be honest, it looks easier doing it on the computer than doing it on your phone.
I had somebody tell me that yesterday too when I walked them through this. No, it's not. Trust me. This dude doing it on the computer is horrible.
I feel like it's easier on the phone, but I think because we have a bird's eye view of meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why.
Even then, like you still have that bird's eye view. If you scroll down, it looks the same way as this, you know. But if we look down here, we're 6 grams over on protein. We're 3 grams under on fat, 1 gram over on carbohydrates. That's perfect, right? The thing here, and one of the biggest things we'll tell you guys is like, don't hyper fixate on like getting everything to the dot. If you're always trying to get it at 180, 60 grams, 220 grams every single day, and if you don't hit it, you suck. That's going to screw you over long term. You know what I mean? Unless you're a bodybuilder going on prep, it's not that serious. Like you can get okay with being over 5 grams on your carbs, right? If you start doing this and you start setting your days prior, now you can adjust, right? If I did want to adjust here and I wanted to actually bring my protein down, I could very easily do that. and now I'm even closer to my protein, right? The thing here is like, you need to be intentional about what you're doing with your food. It's not just about tracking the food and being like, okay, I'm eating and I'm tracking. You know, are we hitting our numbers? Are we hitting the targets that we set out for? And unless we're hitting those targets, we can't really adjust anything, because again, we don't have the data. We don't have everything that we need to see to be able to know that the next adjustment is going to work for you. And the more you do this, the more you focus on this, the easier it's going to get. This is a skill that will take time to develop, but after you develop it, it's never going to go away. And you're going to be able to live your life without having to track. You know, for me, I'm going to give myself probably like another year to a year and a half of tracking. And then I don't think I'm ever going to track for the rest of my life. I have that freedom because I know exactly what I'm eating. I can look at my meals and I can make sure that I'm getting enough protein. I can make sure that, you know, they're very balanced. I have carbohydrates, I have fats, and I'm getting everything I need in my diet. But unless you go through it, you will never get to that point, you know? So that right there pretty much wraps up the con. You know, I do want to ask, like, anybody that, you know, was struggling with macros, or, you know, still kind of struggling with them now, like, did this help?
And what questions do you guys have if you guys still have questions? Because there's definitely a little bit more tips and tricks we can go over. One thing, if you're weighing anything out of a jar, I mean, most people might know this in here, but if you're weighing anything out of a jar, put the jar, say peanut butter, on the scale, zero it out, and then take the peanut butter out. For the longest time, I was spreading it on my bagel and then weighing it, and I was just making a mess, and it was not fun. And then I found out I can just weigh it reverse, and that saved me so much time.
Yep, that's an amazing one. Okay, Hell, what's up, dude?
What's up? What's up? I think that, like we've talked about it, that I need to track the night before, because I have recently had a hard time knowing what I'm like. I'm like, okay, what am I going to eat today? Oh, what do I want today? But I think that totally makes sense to go through, track the night before, because there's things that I do eat the same every day. Like I have chocolate rice cakes and cookie butter before the gym, or I have the same sandwich every day. So I think just going through and doing that will help me out a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And dude, and here's the thing too, right? If you know you have the same meals, it gets even easier, because you just go back to the day before. Top left, it says select. You press on it, you copy, and then it's gonna say copy meal to what meal and what day, and then you just put tomorrow the same meal.
Yeah, it definitely helps out.
You know,
it's also something I didn't know.
Yeah, it gets saved. You know what I mean? Like every morning, since I have the same breakfast, I click two buttons. It says add yesterday's breakfast. Boom.
Yeah.
Do you want to add it? Yes. Cool. And I'm done tracking my breakfast.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I just was, and it's funny that I think Mario said it where, like, or maybe you did, where you eyeball it. I've noticed that I eat cookie butter so much, like every day, that I literally eyeball it, and it's like right on. I'm like, oh, that's 25 grams, and it's 25.
You make it a game, you scoop it out, and you're like, how good am I at fucking eyeballing this? And you're like,
how good am I at hitting 25
I'm pretty
grams?
fucking good. I'm pretty fucking good. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And again, like the more you do it, the easier it just gets, because it's a visual for you, you know?
Yeah.
Anybody else, like, you know, after this, like, do you guys have any questions? And like, I want to make sure you guys walk away from this call and have no reason not to hit your macros the following week.
Sometimes, Jose.
Sorry.
Sorry, go for it, bro.
No, go ahead, man. You're already talking.
When I scan the barcode, if I go to the butcher, like carniceria, their barcode is ass, bro, and it doesn't pop up on the MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Where?
Ask them how fatty is the meat. Ask them what type of meat, and then you just go into it and press the generic one.
Okay.
Wait, where at?
The butcher, like carniceria.
Oh, man.
They usually know the fats though. So you can just ask like, hey, how fatty is this meat? And they're going to be like, oh, it's like 85.15 or like 93.7. And then you just track it as a 93.7.
Because I try to get the milanesa as the leanest one they have usually.
Yeah.
For beef. And a tip too that I learned recently is that if you ask them to ground it for you, they'll do it right
They
there.
will. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just get burgers or something for that night if you want, with the leanest meat possible. You know.
Yeah.
That's hard.
No, that's dope. They do that. I forgot they did that. Cool. And then Jacob, did you have a question, man?
Yeah, I was wondering, how serious do you think it is to track fruit and like lettuce, or like some
Yeah.
even vegetables like broccoli?
Yeah, good question, man. So fruit always track, just because like you're gonna get some very calorie dense fruit. Like apples are pretty high in carb, banana are high in carb. So like you do want to make sure you're still weighing that. As far as veggies go, again, I tell you guys not to sweat the small stuff. So personally, for me, I don't track my veggies, but it's always consistent. I'm always having around like 80 to 120 grams in every single meal. That never changes. You know what I mean? So even when I subtract calories, like I'm still eating the same amount of veggies and like everything. So doesn't really affect anything. You know what I mean? And like lettuce is what, like 5 calories?
Barely anything.
Something like
So
that. Like,
I would say get curious and play around with it, because you'll weigh out pineapple and you'll see how much calories pineapple has. Strawberries doesn't have too much
Yeah.
calories, but I still weigh out strawberries. So I can have a big bowl of strawberries with Greek yogurt and stay super full. But mushrooms, tomatoes, onions, when I cut them up and put them in my eggs, I'm not gonna count that. Like it's
No.
barely anything.
fruits and veggies, yes. No, fruits, yes. Veggies, not really. They're so minuscule. What I would say is just like give yourself like a certain range of veggies you're gonna have, and then keep that consistent. That way, it just never changes.
Cool, thank you.
Of course, man. Any other questions? Like, this is it, guys. Again, like we want you guys to come out of this call and just be like, all right, this following week, I'm gonna fuck up my macros. I'm gonna do hella good. Because this is the like one of the biggest driving factors within the journey. The longer you can't hit your macros, the longer you're going to be stuck in whatever phase you're in. You know, if you're not hitting your macros for 4, 5, 6 months, and you want to go into a cut and you still can't nail them down, I'm sorry. Like, we're not going into a cut.
Jose, not really a question, more like advice. I need your advice. But
Yeah.
like I'm not good at hitting like fats at all. Like 90%
Yeah.
of the time I don't hit. So yeah.
Yeah.
Peanut butter.
Yeah. No, it's literally that, you know, peanut butter, throw some nuts, seeds in there, you know, cook with some olive oil. If you have very lean meat, you know, get a little bit fattier meat. So like, you know, normally when I'm bulking, I won't have chicken breast. I'll have chicken thighs. A lot more dense, has some fat in there, still has protein. I'll go from, you know, the 99.1 to the 97.3 because it has a little bit more fat. So it's little stuff like that. Right. But I think a big thing for you is like, I don't think we're even doing full macros yet. I think for you right now, it's just calories and protein. So as long as you're getting those right now, we'll be solid. One thing I've noticed is when people nail down their calories and their protein, for some odd reason, their carbohydrates and their fats kind of start evening out a lot more.
Okay, bet.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it starts to balance out kind of naturally.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you've noticed that too, but like
Yeah.
I've noticed that like after someone nails down calories and protein, if they had like fats at 90 grams, they just kind of slowly come down to like 80 and 70, and they just kind of keep it consistent. Yeah. And either you got a question, man, it looks like you're going for that mute button. Yeah.
I actually want to say thank you because I think I needed to hear all the. I'm a very logical. I need to hear the why before I start just doing things. It's just, you know, I'm not trying to join a cult or anything. So I always want to know exactly what I'm doing, and I think this really helped kind of clear why you need to see, why we need to be exact, and why you need to see that exactness. Immediately when you said it at the beginning, I was like, fuck. That, and then at the end when you said, well, you're not going to see progress if you're not doing it to the T. And oftentimes I prioritize, like I've been prioritizing the gym a lot more because I know that's an area that I need a lot more help with. But Mario and I have been working very good with like the videos, and that has gotten way better. and it's just at the macro that's where I have been struggling, and it's and I can blame it on like my busy lifestyle, but everybody else here is doing it just like me. So thank you for the clarity. I did just have one question, and I kind of brought it up to Mario this today.
Yeah.
Was what are some? I know Mario gave me some tips, but what are some tips or tricks for when you're traveling? I know Cahill went on vacation, and there was some leniency because
Yeah.
Cahill needed to celebrate for whatever that the trip was. But how does one manage that, especially like work stuff for conferences and things like that?
Yeah, man. I mean, here's the thing I was saying, and I think Mario will agree with me on this one. You're going to do the best that you can on those business trips, and you're going to try and accommodate. It's not going to be perfect, but as long as you're trying and as long as you're getting pretty close to your ranges, you're okay. The biggest tip I would always tell somebody whenever they're traveling is as soon as you get there, try and set yourself up with very easy staples, right? So whenever me and Mario go on a business trip, the first thing we do is we're going to stop at a store. We're going to pick up, a pretty big protein pack. That way we can have proteins whenever we need them available. We're going to pick up, easy carb sources, bagels, English muffins, oatmeal, stuff that we know, is going to push us closer to our goal. And they're just very easy to get a hold of. Right. And then again, don't sweat it if it isn't perfect. Right. For vacations, you're going to have vacations where you're going to want to kind of stay on track. And then you're going to have vacations where you're like, I really don't give a fuck. I want to enjoy life and I want to be as present as I can. When you make that decision, stick to whatever decision you made. Right. If that is a vacation where you don't give a fuck about tracking, you want to drink margaritas and have a great time, enjoy it to the fullest. When you come back and you get back on routine, you're going to drop the weight because it's all water weight. Right. So that's how I tackle things like that, man.
Okay. And thank you for mentioning the margaritas.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, bro. If I'm going on a trip, I'm on vacation, I'm drinking.
I'm going to Big Bear next weekend, coming back in Thanksgiving, and I was like, oh, I'll just be healthy at Thanksgiving. I already have all that planned out. And I was talking to my partner, but I was like, I don't know if I can drink, but I want to drink.
Yeah.
Whatever
Here's the
decision
thing
you
too.
make, just be present with it, like Jose said. I think that's massive, because then you get stuck in a situation where you're one spot wishing you were in another spot, and then you're not present with either, and then you don't get to enjoy the benefits of either. If you're going to stay on track, stay on track. If you're going to like have fun and have your margaritas. But I think it's just important to be present with whatever decision you make.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. The one thing I will say too is, like, if you want to track alcohol, just to understand it and see like what comes with drinking when you're having like, the high calorie drinks versus the low calorie drinks, I recommend it, right? Because people don't understand, sometimes they're drinking 600 calories of sugar and then, their weight spikes up significantly. It's like, dude, you ate like 3,000 calories with the 5 margaritas. Like,
but it's funny. I recorded wine for the first time last week. And I was like, God damn, 190 calories from like 4 ounces? Never again.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time my girlfriend's like, you want a cup of wine? I'm like, that's 40 grams of carbs. I don't know. That's 1/3 of my day. I'm like, I gotta contemplate this. Cool. Dude, I mean, do you feel more confident after seeing this, getting it broken down and like having everything like plugged in? Like, does it all make more sense now?
Yes.
Beautiful. Cool. Was this helpful, guys?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Definitely.
Cool.
Definitely.
We'll definitely have a little bit more of these. Is there any final questions that you guys got before we end the call?
Yeah, you said what to eat before and after your workout? You said carbs? What about like simple carbs or like
Junior,
dense carbs?
I'll send you an ebook. I think I sent it in the group chat, but I'll send you an ebook.
Okay.
Pre and
It's
post workout.
Yeah, it's a very quick little PDF. I'm gonna send in the group chat as well. Again, but pretty much just breaks down what you want your pre and post workout meal to look like. And if you guys want to make your guys' life easier, make that the same thing every single day, and then you only have to worry about 3 other meals throughout the day, or 2 other meals if you guys aren't eating that much calories.
Yep. Beautiful. Well, guys, we appreciate you guys making it. Hopefully you guys got a ton of value from this. We'll keep doing more of these and just making sure that you guys have, everything you need in order to be successful within this program. But if you guys have anything else or you guys need anything, just feel free to reach out and let us know. Like always, we fucking appreciate you guys making it. See you guys next time.